Good morning, everyone. We continue our discussion of time series analysis. And at this point in time, we are dealing with forecasting or modeling a time series using ARIMA. So far, this is our actually our second week already. So hopefully we are able to finish this by early next week. So we have to move on to other topics. So just by way of review, we use this file, and we use these packages: forecast, FPP3, quant mode, T series, time series, XTS, ggplot2, URCA, plotly, GG45, PSM, etc. And I said it will be good for us also FinTS, financial time series. It will be good for you to familiarize yourself with the functionalities. Of course, you need not know all the functionalities of each of the package. However, you should know that, for example, if you're dealing with data visualization, or if you're using ggplot2, you know that this is a package that's used for data visualization. And there are hundreds and hundreds of functionalities that you can use with ggplot2. Okay? It's all for your exploration. So of course, I'll be giving credit in your output if you're going to use also some functionalities of ggplot2. The objective, take note, class, that your first case does not require you to do a statistical analysis. Okay, so for example, if your paper is about GARCH, if your paper is about VAR or VECM, you're not supposed to be doing a statistical modeling for VAR or VECM. Remember, in the outline I said that you'll just load the data and then do some descriptive analytics, descriptive analysis. So you can make use of the functionalities of ggplot2 in coming up with descriptive analysis. That's why you need to have data. Okay, that's why I always ask you when you write your paper there, do you have data for this? Okay, do you have data available for this? Okay, that's why I cannot approve any qualitative study. So dapat quantitative lang. Okay, so I loaded this already. I hope you have loaded also the packages in your... Sorry, my question dito. Besides ggplot, which other codes would you suggest using sa output? What do you mean, Franz? What do you mean sa output?
Sa assignment po namin due Sunday, which other codes would you recommend us using then?
Okay, not so much with the yung codes natin will be more on the formatting, no? Yung the use of YAML, sa descriptive stat, and also the use of images, no? How can you now copy, or how can you paste an image dito sa isang RMD file? Kasi sa Quarto, it will be very easy. For example, let me just highlight this one. For example, Quarto document. If I open a Quarto document, in fact, nobody's preventing you from using a Quarto document. And you'll see that the formatting of Quarto is, see, di ba? Iba na yung formatting niya, no? Kaysa sa RMD. Okay? It's very easy to copy paste an image here. Okay? Unlike, for example, in an RMD file, it's a bit more difficult to copy and paste an image file. Okay? So in your paper, of course, as I said, you have to include some images also, related, of course, to your topic. Okay, so yung codes, our codes here is not so much on the statistical modeling yet. I don't expect you to do ARIMA. I don't expect you to plot the ACF and the PACF. Okay, but if you want for a discussion of for example, you're discussing also for the analysis that you're using a topic that's about ARIMA, and since you already know things about ARIMA, you may do so. Wala namang problema dun. Okay?
All right. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Franz, for your question. The focus here is not so much on it's not yet on the statistical analysis. I just want to you to experience creating an output. Okay, may konting data, may konting mga images, of course, mostly text, and then the outline, and then the format. Okay, even include maybe in the equation you can include the LaTeX. This one, for example, this one. Kasi diba, kunyari may equation kayo ilalagay, it would be best to use LaTeX for it. Kasi pag linatex nyo sa class, di ba, ang lalabas ganyan. That's how it will be printed. So it's in good format. Okay. Did that answer your question, Franz?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you din po.
Okay, so we said last time that when we're dealing with time series, one of the best methodology to use is ARIMA, autoregressive integrated moving average. Okay, and we said that before you can use that, you have to make sure that the data, that the time series is stationary. When you say stationary, it means stationary in mean or stationary in variance. Okay, so if it's not yet stationary, then you will have to do transformation. Okay, we discussed that in the past sessions. So let's continue what we have been doing so far. What we did was to import the BUD data. So this is the ticker symbol from Yahoo. We learned how to make use of the quant mode package using the get symbols function, and we were able to generate or download the BUD data. So by way of review, this is what we did last time. No? So i-access ko lang yung BUD data. Okay. Clicking this is equivalent to writing view. And then we said quant mode will give us the opening, high, low, close, OHLC, no? With the volume and the adjusted price. So in finance, we oftentimes use either the closing price or the adjusted price. Sometimes class malayo yung yung closing at saka sa adjusted. Sometimes it's quite near, sometimes it's just the same. So you'll have to check the history kung bakit, why this is the adjusted. Of course, ina-explain naman usually yan sa source ng data, no? Kung why your adjusted price is quite far off from your closing price. Usually the reason is there's stock split or there are adjustments in prices. Okay, in our case, we're going to make use of the adjusted price. Okay, so what we did last time was, okay, so we also looked at the class of BUD. We said that BUD, the object that we created, and by the way, class, diba, we also use the assignment operator. Okay, what's the shortcut for the assignment operator for Windows users? Paki-shout out na lang, class. What's the shortcut? Keyboard shortcut for this less than and then dash.
Sir, Alt and minus po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Alt and minus, how about for Mac users? Okay, option and then dash. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, so it's better to use that kasi class medyo matagal i-type to kung mag-shift ka muna tapos less than tapos yung dash. Pero alt minus or option minus mas madali. Okay, then we said that in this case, BUD is an XTS object. So if you watch the video class that I asked you to watch, you notice that I did not discuss XTS or zoo object. So it's a different class. It's not the same as a data frame. It has a special quality in that if you take a look at this, what did we say? Ano yung special na what's so special about an XTS or a zoo object? What's so distinct about it as compared to a data frame? Class? Okay. Yes, thank you, Michael. Yung dates, the index class are the dates. Okay, if you have a regular data frame, for example, sige, mag-ano tayo ng ng data. Okay. Data, let me see. Dami naman data class sa ano, no? Iris lang. Sige, Iris dataset, no? This is a very popular dataset. Data Iris, and then I view this, view Iris, so that we can see what this includes. Take a look, class, yung index nila, no? It's just the numbers, no? 1 up to 150. Okay, this is a data frame. If I type class Iris, this is a data frame. Yeah, data frame. And a data frame is also it's also an important data type in R because if you're not working with a time series, this is the way to go. This is the format. This is the class of data that you should be using, data.frame, because each column is distinct. It has a name, okay, and each observation is a measure of each of the columns. Okay, they're distinct observations. Okay. All right, so this is a data frame. But if we compare this with, okay, let me close this. If we compare this with the XTS, okay. Now, what makes this a good type of data is that it's quite difficult to work with dates, especially if the dates are part of your data. If the dates are, it's just another column here, just another variable. I've experienced that in the past now. Minsan mahirap. It's quite difficult to work with objects or data where your time component, your date component is part of your column. Ito talaga nakasegregate siya as an index. So that's what you need to remember about that XTS or zoo. And then we said that last time we are only going to make use of the last column, which is the adjusted column. Okay, quick review lang, class, no? Okay, I hope you have this, class. So we created this object. You may name it any way you want. I just created adjusted bud, and I'm just filtering. I'm just filtering or extracting the sixth column. Okay, the blank here means all the rows, and this one means the sixth column. So if I run this, we're going to create now an object called adjusted bud here. And if I click that, it's the same as view, the function view adjusted bud. So here, also 3,400 entries, and then, but it's only the adjusted bud column. And if you want to change the name of the column, okay, you can make use of the call names function. So let me just show that. This is what we did last time also. I hope you don't mind us reviewing, class, because and there's no harm in reviewing and being more familiar about it. Okay, call names ng adjusted bud na data, and then we give the name adj. Okay, so if I run this, and automatically you'll see now that the column name of dati bud.adjusted yan napalitan na. Okay. Right, so of course, class, before you do any descriptive statistics, plot. Okay, so I expect in your paper that before you do descriptive analysis, you plot first your data. So in this case, I'm going to create another object, bud1, and it's just the same as adjusted bud. I'm doing that because I just want to shorten the name. Of course, initially I could have used here bud1 already. Pwede naman yun, no? Bud1 instead of adjusted one. Okay, if I run everything, so it will create this object bud1, and then we're going to plot bud1 using the basic plot function. If I run this, you can now see that there's this object bud1 now here, and exactly the same as adjusted bud. And you can see here the time series for bud. And as we answered last time, this is not stationary. There seems to be a trend for a particular period. upward trend, and then afterwards there was a downward trend. For the for the variance, it's not easy to decipher or to read, to analyze if it's stationary invariance. Okay, only that in certain areas like this one, okay, yung volatility dito na medyo hindi rin. So I was referring to the trend. So quite difficult to see here the stationarity invariance, but don't fret because there are statistical packages, statistical functions that we can use in order to test for stationarity. And last time we also learned how to use ggplot2, which is a more robust method of plotting. Okay, as you can see here, we're creating this object P1, and then using ggplot2, we have this autoplot function ng BAD1. Okay, and then we just give it a title plus the Y label. Okay, and then print natin to. We did this last time. And then the plot from the Plotly package, there's this ggplotly where you can convert your ggplot. That's why we gave it a name here, P1. So that we can convert your P1 using the ggplotly function. Okay, and you can create a object called P2. Okay, so if you can see here, class, this is a dynamic plot. Okay, confirm ng class, we were able to do this, diba? Itong Plotly, right? Tama ba, class? Were we able to do that? Okay, good. So the advantage of the ggplotly graph is that this is dynamic. You can see there are functionalities here on the upper right class. You can zoom a particular area. Okay, for example, if I highlight this, then so that's the zoom of that particular area. Okay, anyway, so close ko na to. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we said that this is not stationary. So what do we do? In order to address the non-stationarity in mean, we get the difference. So I think we reached this part last time. So here I'm creating this object dbud. D stands for difference. That's just my nomenclature there. So the function is diff. So diff of bud1. If we run this, Control Enter, there will be now a new object called dbud, difference bud. And notice that there is a missing value here, an NA value. Okay, there's an NA value because we said that there is no prior value to this, so you cannot difference the first data here. You cannot difference it because it has no prior value. For the second value, okay, we can get the difference. So that's 28.032 minus 28.10. Okay, and this is negative kasi yung later value, when you subtract to it the earlier value, okay, mas maliit yung later value, kaya that's why our dbud has a negative value there. So for the first three differences, negative siya. Okay, let me pause for a while, class. Any questions? Paki-chat nga please kung everything is clear so far, itong review natin na to. Are we okay so far, class? Kindly chat, please. Okay, waiting for the others. Dalawa pa lang nag-chat. You're 30 plus. Okay, if you have any questions about the code, please feel free to ask a question. About the others class, hindi pa tayo nag 50% ng response. Waiting for the others. I just want to be assured that you're able to follow. A few more seconds. Nakaka 60% pa lang tayo eh. Sana umabot tayo ng 25 para at least naka 80% ang nag-confirm. Okay, thank you class thank you for your comments. This is important to me class. Kaya every time I ask a question, kindly please make sure that you respond and participate just by even answering a simple yes or no. Okay, so may question pala. Wait. May question. Okay, all right. Adi, I'm about to go there. So ang question ni Adi, by the way, class, when you ask a question, kindly share it to everybody, no, para makita din ng, kasi if your classmates can answer it, then I would prefer that they answer it. Okay. Michael, after I answer the question of Adi, kasi Adi, can you kindly share your question to everybody? After we answer Adi's question, then we go to Michael's question. Okay, ang question ni Adi is, no, when he computed the mean of DBUD, NA yung output. Yes, we're about to answer that, Adi. Thank you so much. Okay, before we answer that, ano yung question mo, Michael? What's your question?
Sorry, sir. When we delete a row po, sir, it's okay naman to like not include comma sa right side ng -1.
Not include. Okay, sige, we'll go there, no? Okay. So let's address these two questions. Okay. First question, yung question ni Adi, no? Sabi niya, okay, so we were here, di ba? We created this object called dbud, and dbud contains an NA value. Yung first item dito, NA siya. Okay? So when I ask you to get the mean of this, it will generate an NA result. Bakit class? Sabi natin, R is very sensitive to missing values. Okay? So automatically, it generates an NA answer, not applicable or error answer, just to alert the user that there are missing values there. Okay? So which is good kasi ibig sabihin, maybe we missed out on a data tapos may missing value pala. So it's alerting us that something's wrong. Okay? Kasi if we take a look at our data, di ba? Adjust dbud. May NA nga eh. So ang sinasabi niya, hindi tayo pa pwedeng kumuha ng, let's say, standard deviation or mean ng isang data set na may missing values. So how do we address that? Pwedeng ganito, no? Pwedeng ganito. So let me do this. NA.rm is equal to 2. So you can do this class. Get the mean of dbud and then sabi niya, yung mga NA, remove niya. NA.rm is equal to 2. So try this first. Try this. So if I run now, control enter. Okay, so it now gives us the average of difference bud. Because we included here a function, a part of the code, no? NA.rm. So NA.rm means yung NA i-remove is equal to true. Of course, you can make this is equal to false. Okay? So, Adi is correct. Nag-NA talaga kasi nga may NA values tayo. So to address that, you can do this. Okay? Or, what we can do is, okay, ito naman yung question ni Michael, no? Michael, anong sabi mo? Na bakit walang comma before this? Ganyan?
Yes, sir. Para ma-specify po kung alin yung
Okay.
i-delete na part. Parang
Okay, good.
ganun.
That's a good question. Pero let's see, class, no? If you take a look at dbud, how many rows and how many columns do we have here? Ilang rows?
One column, sir.
One column, no? And 3,400 observations. So if you take a look at this code, hindi tayo naglagay ng comma. No? If we do that, ano mangyayari? If we put the comma before -1, what we're saying is that
We're gonna delete the column.
yeah, we're going to delete the column. Pag dinelete pa natin yung column, ano na mangyayari? Iisa lang yung column natin, di ba? Try nyo nga to, class, gawin ito. Debug, and then i-filter natin o i-extract natin yung lahat ng rows. Kasi ang ibig sabihin yan, di ba? Not putting any number dun sa rows, all the rows will be included. And then -1. Can you tell me, class, what happens? If you run that, class, ano mangyayari? Okay. NaN siya, no? Not a number, no? Not applicable nga, di ba? Bakit, class? Kasi we're deleting the column, but this has only one column. If this had several columns, okay lang yon. Pero since unicolumnar na siya, no? Isang column lang, then this is no longer possible. Kasi by deleting the column, wala nang object na matitira, di ba? Okay? You may have several rows, but if there's no column, then that ceases to be a data set. So, if there's only one column, class, understood na yan na ito, you're deleting the row. Kasi you can only delete the row since the row are many, di ba? You cannot delete the column because there's only one column. Okay? So if you have only one column and you just put one number here, then automatically R reads that to be, you delete the either the row or column that's possible to delete. Okay, as I said, hindi na pwedeng i-delete yung column kasi isa lang siya. So what will be deleted will be the row. Okay, Michael, did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So here, di ba, pag naglagay tayo ng ano dyan, hindi pa pwede. But what about here, class? How about that? Pwede ba yan, class?
Sir, yun yung ginamit ko. Yeah,
Oh.
it works.
Yeah, pwede ba? Yes, this works, class. Kasi row column to, di ba? You delete row 1, okay? And then maintain yung column. So this will work, okay? Or as I said, this will also work. Di ba? Kasi nga, hindi natin kailangan ilagay yung column doon kasi iisa lang yung column eh. Hindi siya pwedeng i-delete. Same thing, class, if this was just one row, tapos several columns, hindi rin natin pwedeng i-delete yung row doon kasi iisa lang siya. Okay? So in this case, if I run this, there. Nawala na yung ano, nawala na yung NA, and so we can now get the mean of dbud, which is the same as above. Okay. Okay, so any questions so far, class? Paki-chat naman kung clear tayo so far. Okay, I hope many will respond. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Okay, I hope, class, okay lang pace natin ha, kasi baka I'm sometimes I have a concern baka I might be going too slow. Sige, tanungin ko nga yun. Kamusta naman, class, yung pace natin? Is it workable? Okay lang ba? Am I going too fast or too slow? Do you want me to accelerate my pace or the pacing is just okay? Okay, thank you. How about the others, class? Kamusta yung pacing natin? Thank you, Rhea. Thank you, Michael. Yung iba, kamusta naman? Pwede kayang mag-feedback, class? Okay. Dadalawa lang yun. You, thank you. Hello, class. Kamusta yung pace natin? Feedback, please. I want to know. Okay. Okay, thank you. Although konti lang din yung nag-ano, no? Sana class, mag-participate kayo lahat, no? Di pa ako nakakakuha ng instance sa lahat na sumagot. Okay, so another way to do this class is ito. This is let's say, sabihin natin more technical but more difficult. Okay, but this can work class if you would want to delete several rows. Okay, this might work. So what's being done here? Okay, let's recreate yung dbud natin, which is the difference of bud1. So if I create this dbud, it will restore the dbud with an NA. Kasi inulit natin process. So yung dbud which with no NAs will again be overwritten with a dbud with NA. Okay, I hope you understand that class. And then we filter ulit natin class, filter the row dbud, and then here from row 2 up to the number of rows of dbud. So it's just the same. It's just getting the -1. No? Okay, in some instances, this is very good. Especially class, kunyari ang i-delete nyo lang. Kunyari you want to delete from row 10 to row it's a different example. Kung row 10 to row 18, and then so ilalagay nyo lang 10:18. So that's the way to go about it. Itong n row lang, okay, let me run. Ano ba yung n row? N row, bud1. Just tells us, class, kung ilan yung rows, ilang observations yung data natin. Number of rows yan, 3,400. So sabi dito, include from row 2 up to row 3,400, which means you're just excluding row 1. Okay. All right. So, okay, now let's take a look at the plot of dbud. I don't think we reached this far, right? Am I correct, class? Hindi pa natin napaplot si dbud, yung difference dbud. Okay, wait. Tanggalin ko na muna yung... Just make sure na wala ng NA. Okay. Sound off, please, class. I think we ended here. We were not able to run this, di ba? Yung plot ng dbud. Tama ba, class? We ended there last meeting. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so if we plot this class, okay, take a look at this. O, ano nangyari, class, ano natin? What happened to our bud data? Yung difference bud, what did it address, class? Kindly chat, please. What did it address? Or unmute yourself. Who would like to answer? Ano nangyari sa data natin, class? Okay. Rhea, thank you. Detrended, no? That's correct. Nawala na yung trend, class, di ba? So this shows, class, that when you get the difference of the data, it usually, almost always, addresses or transforms your data into a non-trending data. Unless may seasonality siya na kailangan pang mag-difference ka or maybe do a seasonal differencing. Okay, kasi pag just the regular differencing, it might address the trending for consecutive data. Pero it might not address the trending dun sa seasonality. Kaya pwede pang tumataas yan because of the seasonality of the data. But in this case, wala namang seasonality kaya naging ganito na siya. So it's stationary with respect to the mean. Okay. For the variance, it looks like stationary din naman. Only that, okay, ano lang problema natin dito? Only that, class. Okay, annotate natin. Only that, you can see here class ito. Itong mga areas na to, no? Yung mga yan. Okay. So this one would indicate what? Shocks, okay, shocks. Yeah, thank you, Rhea, that's correct. May mga shocks, no? Or there's a technical term for that, and we call it volatility clustering. Volatility clustering. And what's volatility clustering? Okay, it's the tendency of in this case, stock prices, okay, to either increase or decrease, and increase consistently or decrease consistently. What do I mean by that? So taas ng taas yung stock price, so it keeps on increasing. Okay, so it will form shocks. Tulad nito mga shocks na to. Yan. These are what we call volatility clustering or volatility shocks. And this might indicate that later on, makikita natin that maybe, just maybe, ARIMA might be a insufficient model. Kasi pag marami mga shocks yung ano natin, which is always true of time series data. More often than not, it will show volatility clustering, and this tells us that maybe a more appropriate model for this would be the Garch model, which we're going to discuss next, no? After ARIMA, which is generalized autoregressive conditional heteroskedasticity. Okay, but in the meantime, class, ang focus natin is ARIMA. And since it seems to be stationary in mean and even in variance, then we can proceed with the ARIMA process. Okay. Any questions so far, class? Clear ba yun? Okay. May question dito. Pwede ba raw ma-decompose? Pwede naman, no? Kaso, usually class, ang dinidecompose kasi, okay, there's a good question here by Glenn. Ang sabi ni Glenn, pwede ba raw ma-decompose yung ano? Usually, ang dinidecompose class, okay. Sige, pakita natin yung ano, yung question ni Glenn. That's a good question. Let's address that. So let's use the data, air passengers, yung unang binigay ko ng example. Okay. Okay, let's okay, data air passengers. Do you recall this class? Okay, take note, ang air passengers class, ang class yan, what's the class of air passengers? Yan. Class air passengers is time series yan. It's a special type of object then. It's a TS. Kaso class, hindi siya XTS ha. It's a different thing. And take note class, air passengers, dito siya pumapasok sa values. Okay? Sa values siya pumapasok. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya data frame. In fact, it's just a vector consisting of time-dependent data. And we can use the decompose function. I-decompose natin siya. Okay, this is what was being asked by, sino nagtanong yun? Si Glenn. No? Okay, there's a function, decompose. Okay. let's do this here. Let me call this P1, decompose if passengers and then if I plot this, okay, take a look at this class. So what did I do? Diba, if you remember, si decompose natin class. Yeah. So this is what Glenn was asking about a while ago. Okay, si air passengers kasi, di ba, ito yung data niya, no? Ito. Di ba? May trend siya. Tapos may seasonal trend pa siya. Okay, when you decompose a data, a time series data, usually, you break it down into the trend component, the seasonal component, and then the random component. Yung random component is that portion which cannot be explained by the regular trend and the seasonal trend. Okay, that's what we mean by decompose. Pero yung kaninang object natin, si D1, okay? Ano ba yung object natin? Si dbud. Okay. Let me see if it will work here. See, decompose. Ano name natin sa kanya? Dbud, no? So ayaw, the time series has no or less than 2 periods. So ayaw niya pag XTS, no? Ayaw niya. So, well, ayaw niya kasi class, yung dbud natin, if we, di ba we plotted it? Okay? We plotted it and you can see na wala naman siyang trend. So, asan yung dbud natin, yung plot ni D? Saan na siya? Where's dbud? Ito, class. Okay. I think nag-error siya kasi wala naman siya i-decompose dito eh. There's no regular trend. There's no seasonal trend. Okay, so parang lumalabas dito, parang random fluctuations na lang siya. Okay, although may ano pa rin, parang linear lang eh, no? Tapos may fluctuations. So, hindi niya ma-decompose kasi walang trend, walang seasonal, walang regular trend. Okay, Glenn, did that answer your question? Okay. All right. Thank you for those questions. Thank you. Maganda yung mga questions niyo. And it's good that Glenn asked that kasi what we learned here, class, is that if it's a time series and then there's a trend, usually pag time series kasi may trend siya, we can make use of this function. What we did a while ago, no? Okay, yung decompose function, and then i-plot natin siya and it will give us what I presented to you a while ago. No? Dine-decompose siya, parang ini-split niya yung data natin into the trend, regular trend, and then kung may seasonal trend, tapos may, and those that cannot be explained by the trend or the seasonal trend falls under the random component. Yun ang decomposition. Okay? Very good question. Thank you, Glenn. Okay. So now class, let's try this. Because what we did was to get the difference of bud. Now, where is getting the log used for? Getting the log of the data. If you have a data that's non-constant invariance, the non-constancy invariance will not be addressed by the differencing. Hindi mawawala yung non-constancy invariance if you just difference. So what can be done is to get the log. Although sa case natin, hindi na naman kailangan you don't need to get the log kasi mukhang stationary na yung data natin eh. Tsaka mukhang hindi naman siya non-constant variance. There are volatility clusterings here, but that does not indicate that, and not necessarily indicate that there's non-constant variance. May volatility clustering. Okay, so if we get the log of a difference data, what do we have? If I run this, control enter, it will give us NaN, so not a number. Why? Because we said last time that you cannot get the log of a negative or zero. Okay, if I do this log of zero, okay, that's infinite, no? So that's undefined actually. Log of a negative number, log of -1, that is okay, not a number. All right? So if in case you need to transform the data and convert it into a stationary as far as variance is concerned, if it's not stationary in variance, then you will have to transform the data. Then you will have to get the log first. So it's best to get the log first and then get the difference if there's trend. Okay, it's not best. I mean, it's the right way to go. Okay, so in this case, let's create an object called lbud, that's log bud. So I'm getting the log of bud1. Okay, so I now have here lbud. Okay, let me. Okay, bilang naghanggang. Okay, huwag ka maghang. Okay, so lbud class here. Okay, yan. No? Okay. What do you notice about the value of ano class? The value of lbud. What do you notice? Sorry.
Positive.
Yes,
Positive.
correct. That's true, correct. So all yung range ng ano, yung domain, no? Yung domain or the possible values of a log component will always be positive. And it will never reach zero. Hindi siya magre-reach ng zero. Okay, so suppose let's natin, ha? Let's generate a set of random numbers. Did I discuss with you set.seed class? Di pa? Kasi mamaya na lang, no? Okay, anyway, but it's important class. Not yet, no? I'll discuss it in a while. It's important class to know that when you get the log of the numbers, it will always be, it cannot be zero. It's asymptotic. If you plot class, okay, let me just show you class. Tingnan natin sa ano na lang, para hindi ko na i-drawing. Dito na lang sa ano. Sa internet na lang natin tingnan class. Okay, plot of the log of x. Let me just show you the range of the domain. Yan, tinan nyo class, no? What do you notice about this class? Okay, dali mukhang may mali ako sa sinabi Let me correct myself, no? Okay, just to be, I think may mali ako sinabi, no? Clarify ko lang class kasi okay, mali. Okay. Nasaan na yung R ko? Ang dami nakabukas kasi. Okay. Sorry, I got confused with okay. Okay, if I get the log of, let's say, 0.11, okay, it would be negative, no? The log of 1, okay, it's 0. So yung range, domain and range, all possible values of So yung range ng values ng log of x class, okay, it will be as the plot shows. Yung plot natin dito, tingnan nyo, class. No? So it will be ano class? So yung function natin dito kasi y is equal to log of x. Okay, so what are the possible values of x? What are the possible values of x class? The possible values of x class is that it cannot be negative. You know. And that's what I wanted to say a while ago. Tama ba, class? You get me? We cannot get the negative of the log of a negative number. Okay? Yung possible values ng x class are, kasi ito yung x-axis natin, di ba? Ito. This is x-axis. You can only get the log of a number greater than 0 hanggang infinity. Okay? So, hindi mo pwedeng kunin yung log of negative 1. Okay? Kasi yung plot ng log of x class is asymptotic to the y is equal to 0 axis. That's just what I wanted to say mathematically. But the values of y is equal to log of x, the values of y, okay, it can take on a negative number. Ito yung y-axis natin. Okay, so y is equal to log of x. The value of y can be negative. In fact, up to negative infinity. Okay, and also up to positive infinity. Pero yung possible values ni x, you cannot get the log of a negative number. Okay, kasi ito yung x-axis natin and it's asymptotic here. Hindi natin pwedeng kunin yung log of 0 as I showed a while ago. I hope clear siya, class. Medyo konting algebra lang. Log of 0 cannot be. Diba? But log of a number that's very, very close to 0, kunyari 0.0000001, okay? So it's a very, very number very, very close to 0, but not 0. Okay? And it's a it's a negative number, okay? Tapos pag pinalitan ko pa yan, kunyari 1 times 10 to the negative 300. Okay. So that's 0.0000299 zeros and then 1. So that's a very, very small number, di ba? Pag kinuha natin log niyan, class, hindi na niya kaya, no? Error in, wait. Anong mali ko dito? Ay, wait. Mali natin pag ano. So log of 1, I'll make this, ano. Or, pwede lang to. Log of 10 to the negative log of 10 to the negative 300, that's a very small number. Ayan. Okay? So it's negative 690. If I decrease this class, pinalitan ko pa yan, it will become a smaller negative. No? Okay, last one example. Log of 10 to the negative 1 million. Okay, so this is a very, very small number, di ba? And ang answer dito, infinite na. Hindi na kaya ni ano, no? Hindi na kaya. Kasi ibig sabihin, that's very, very, very small. It approaches 0. No? Parang infinitely small na siya, pero it does not become 0. So yung plot natin kanina, okay. Ito yung Cartesian coordinate system natin. So yung y is equal to log of x. Ito yung, sorry. This is how it behaves. Ganyan. Yan. So it's asymptotic to the y-axis. It keeps on getting closer and closer and closer to the value 0. but it will not touch 0. Okay, so the log of a number cannot become 0. Asymptotic siya dito. So if you keep on continuing this, okay, hindi siya magta-touch dun sa y is equal to 0 line. X is equal to 0 line, sorry. Or y is equal to 0 line, pareho lang pala. Okay, question dito dun, class. Okay, sorry for inserting that, no? Just want us to be mathematically aware of what's happening. Okay, so let's sana makaabot tayo dito. All right. So what did we say here? We got the log of the bud, and then, okay, let's see what the, may log bud na tayo, no? What's the log of bud, class? Yan. Okay, how does the log of bud plot look like, class? Any comment? Log of bud yan. I plotted the log of bud. How does it look like?
Non-stationary, sir.
Yeah. Did it address the trend?
Yes.
The trend? In-address ba ni log bud yung trend?
No, sir.
No, it does not. It did not. No. So what I'm saying here, class, is that getting the log of the time series may address yung non-stationary invariance, but it will not address the non-stationary in mean. Ba, linog natin yung bud eh. Ayan, no? May andun pa rin yung trend niya. Okay? So it did not address it. So to make this stationary, talagang kailangan natin na na i-difference. Okay, ang question which I posted the last time, kung wala namang hindi naman non-constant in variance yung yung data natin, huwag niyo na kunin yung do not get the log anymore. Pwede nang kunin lang difference kung non-stationary in trend. Because of the question of simplicity. Yung mas simple na model, mas maganda. Kasi class, when you forecast that data, kunyari kinuha natin yung difference ng log versus kunin lang natin difference. If just getting the difference will suffice already, then do not model the difference of the log. Just use the difference of the data. Why? Kasi later on, class, pag nag-forecast na tayo, we are going to forecast the transform data. And then we will have to revert back to the original data. I-convert back natin yan. So if you have 2 transformation steps, dalawang transformations ang gagawin natin. But if you have only differencing, madaling i-transform yan kasi i-add back mo lang siya, di ba? Kasi kanina nag-difference tayo. Pag ita-transform natin yan, i-add back mo lang yung data mo to get the equivalent original data. No? All right, so that's a very important class. No? So, okay, so for this case, it's dito naman ang ginawa, kinuha yung difference. Okay, wait, ito tinuloy lang may log bud na tayo, tapos kinuha pa yung difference. Okay, and then okay, dito class, you can also use this function. Okay. If I run this, may NA to. No? Kasi dito sa rinaran ko ngayon, class, kinuha mo natin yung log. Nung kinuha natin yung log, wala naman na delete na data dyan eh. Kasi hindi naman tayo nagdi-differencing. But when we difference the log data, what happened? Nagkaroon tayo ng NA na naman kasi nag-difference tayo. And how do you remove? Several ways, class. Kanina tinignan natin yung bracket -1, or we can use this function na.omit. Okay, so this is another way to remove the NA. Yan. Okay, natanggal na yung na.omit function. Okay, and then if we plot this, okay, do we now have stationary data? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, stationary data na. No? So later on class, we will have to, some time, we will have to address kung is it necessary to get the log of the data first and then get the differencing, or will just differencing address that data, address the non-stationary or non-stationary concern. Okay, so you'll have to really analyze carefully, no? Okay, so siguro i-check nyo muna kung yung difference ng data series natin is already stationary. Okay, kung kaya nang maging stationary just by getting the differencing, then use that. As compared to getting the log first and then the differencing, sabi ko nga, that's a more complicated, hindi naman ganun ka-complicated, ano? But there was an additional transformation step. Okay, and what's the result class? It will make the conversion later on a little bit harder, no? At saka it's better really to not to add extraneous steps. Kung pwede naman ng differencing lang, difference nyo lang, no? You don't have to get the log of the data. Okay. All right. So the only difference is that dito sa difference ng log data, notice, ano nakita nyo difference class versus this one? Can you comment class on the difference between the plot of the difference bad data and the difference log data class? Comment yung class. Okay. Values are smaller in log, mas narrow yung log. Okay, that's true. So mas lesser yung volatility clustering class. Okay? Mas lesser yung volatility clustering dun sa linog natin, because that's what getting the log does, no? 'Di ba ang the way to address any non-stationary invariance is to get the log. So apparently may mga na-address yung volatility clusters dito sa difference ng log. Okay? All right. So okay, here we were not able to do this, but ito class, no? Yung daily return is a function coming from, tingnan natin daily, this is it's important class if you're meeting new functions for the first time. Maganda kung aaralin nyo, no? This is a constant practice of mine. Okay? So ito, for example, period return. So this is coming from quant mode. So I'm not sure if binago na ni quant mode kasi nag-update si quant mode. Pwede pa. Daily return, weekly return, okay, monthly return, quarterly return. So take note class, si quant mode package, if you want to get the daily returns of your time series, yan, pwedeng you can use the period return. So i-define mo lang kung ano yung period. Is it monthly, daily, weekly, etc. Or you can specifically use daily return, weekly return, etc. Okay, so let me do that class here. I'm not sure if I gave this code to you already. Yeah, so I'm creating this object ret, and it's equal to daily return of your bakit bad one? Okay. Okay. Ang ginagawa natin dito class yung original data, no? So we will use first the adjusted bud. 'Di ba yung adjusted lang? We're not getting the returns of the difference data. Siyempre, ang gusto natin dito, kukunin natin yung returns, no? How do you compute for the returns of the data? Okay? The long way is first get the log of the data and get the difference of the data. Okay, let me repeat that. The way to get the returns of the data is first yung long cut, no? Get the log of the data and then get the difference. So papakita natin dito kung pareho siya dito, no? So I'm using this return, daily return ng bad one, type is equal to log. Okay? So let's run this. And you can see now that yung ret natin, ito yung ret natin. So these are now the returns. Okay, so notice that yung una, the first item is 0. Bakit? Kasi to get the log returns, di ba ang formula niyan, the log of the value at time t divided by the value at time t minus 1. Okay, so that's how you get the log returns. No? Log of price at time t over the price at time t minus 1. Okay? So, meron tayong time t divided by time t minus 1. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong magiging value dito na NA kasi wala naman siyang prior value. Okay? So, after getting that, isa na ako. Okay. All right. So, let's now remove the missing value, no? Dun sa ano. Okay. There. Negative 0.0026. Okay. Yun. All right. So this is the daily log returns of the data. So we used daily returns and then we identified the type. Pwede rin kasing discrete, yan, or arithmetic. Yung arithmetic, ito yung regular returns lang, hindi siya log returns. Now I said, diba, this is actually equivalent to what? This is equivalent to, the returns is actually equivalent to getting the log first, which is this one. No? You get the log first, and then get the difference of the log data set. Ito yun. So it's equivalent to DLBUD. Yan, DLBUD, which is obtained by getting the log of the data and then getting the difference. Okay, so sige nga, tingnan natin. Can you please compare yung DLBUD na data natin at saka yung RET na data natin? Meron na ba? Rinan ko na ba yan, DLBUD? Yeah, here, I have it already. I hope you ran it too, class. Okay, how does the DLBUD data compare nyo nga, class, si DLBUD?
Sir, they're the same po.
Yeah, oo. At saka RET na data. They're exactly the same. Okay? So please, class, importante sa atin to, finance students, when you're getting the returns of the data of your time series, you're actually getting the log. And then after getting the log, you get the difference. Okay, mathematically, it's easily shown that the difference of the log data is actually the returns of the data. Okay, kasi ano ba yung formula ng returns, class? The formula for the returns is actually equal to log of P sub t over P sub t minus 1, okay, and then minus 1. Ito yun, no? Ito yung returns, class. So, it's getting the log and then differencing it. Okay? Medyo kinakapusa tayo sa oras, but we will review that next meeting. I just want to go ahead and just explain this quickly. I want to end here in this particular place. Okay. Yan. So pareho lang yan, class, pareho lang yung returns at saka yung returns at saka yung getting the log and the difference. Okay. Now I have a few more minutes. Now I want to check now, no? Okay, mali ito, class, hindi Apple yung natin. DLBUD. We said, class, that we have to check not only visually kung stationary yung data natin, no? Okay, sorry, dito tayo. All right. So we can do statistical testing kung stationary yung data natin. Dalawa yung i-test natin, class. Okay, yung una, yung DLBUD, yung difference ng logbud. Tapos pangalawa, class, i-test din natin yung, DBUD muna. Tapos yung pangalawa, Control C, Control V, yung DLBUD. Okay? We just want to compare kung yung ano ba yung difference ng bud, was it sufficient already? Ano na ba siya yung stationary? So we're using the ADF.test, no? This is augmented Dickey-Fuller test. And this is coming from the T-series package. Now the null hypothesis here is that the time series has a unit root. Okay, explain natin class next time sa Tuesday, ano ibig sabihin ng unit root? Now, this is a very important concept for us, yung concept ng unit root. Okay? So, but I can't explain now kasi it's almost time. I just have a few seconds. So, i-run ko lang to class. Paki-run na rin sa inyo. No? Control Enter. All right. What does it say here? Data daw natin, data is dbud. Ang Dickey-Fuller statistic is negative 14.469. Okay, the p-value is 0.01. Okay, alternative hypothesis stationary. So what is our null hypothesis? Ang null hypothesis natin is that the time series has a unit root. So loosely speaking, pag sinabi natin the time series has a unit root, ibig sabihin nun hindi siya stationary. Okay? So based on this T-series natin, yung augmented Dickey-Fuller test, what's our conclusion, class? Since the p-value is 0.01, anong conclusion natin? Okay, sa stat, di ba, sinasabi natin, okay, let me end this in this class, sorry when the p is low, the null must go. Ibig sabihin, i-reject natin yung null. Ulitin ko, when the p is low, ibig sabihin less than 0.05, the null must go. Ibig sabihin, we will reject the null hypothesis. Anong null hypothesis natin dito? There is a unit root. AKA, ibig sabihin ng there is a unit root, hindi siya stationary. Since the p-value is 0.01, so we reject this null hypothesis. Ergo, we're saying that our time series is stationary. So, yung d-bud natin, yung difference ng bud natin is already stationary. Kung stationary yung class, all the more yung DL bud natin will be stationary rin to, malamang. Nung kinuha natin log nito. So, i-run natin to. And true enough, class, pareho lang. P-value din is 0.01. Okay, so stationary siya. So whether we use yung difference ng bud or the difference ng log bud, stationary yung data natin. Therefore, class, since stationary data natin, we can now proceed with the ARIMA model. Kindly check na lang, class. Okay, when we continue our discussion next meeting. Okay, ito na lang, class, quickly, i-run ko lang to. Using naman the KPSS test. Okay. Ito, yung null hypothesis naman ito, opposite ng ADF test. Okay, so ang null hypothesis nito, the data, the time series is stationary. And based on the KPSS test, ano yung p-value natin? The p-value is a 0.1. Okay, therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that our data we fail to reject that our data is stationary. So pareho lang yung result even this one, pareho lang yung result ni ADF test at saka KPSS test in this instance. Okay? All right, so let me end there, class. Let me stop recording.